We're in lesson, I believe it's 34. And we are on text aid. Are there any questions about anything we covered last week before we get into text day? No questions? So either you're thoroughly snowed or you're thoroughly illuminated, okay? So I hope it's the latter. All right, do you know where this text day comes from? At least most
John
of
4.
John 4, I believe it is. The woman at the well, the Samaritan woman at the well, okay? And Bobby, you're having coughing problems tonight, so we won't call on you to read, if that's all right. Benjamin, are you able to read?
Yeah, I should be fine.
Okay, just start coughing immediately.
I got a tickle, and so I'm fine.
Okay, well, can you just read the whole thing down to where the end of the sentence where the cursor is? Can you see the flashing cursor?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Jesus kekapiakos ektes odoiporios ekatheta hutos epite hege. I said, therefore, Jesus, having tired from the trip, thus he was sitting on or at or by the well.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you what, Benjamin, you and your dad read a whole lot better than I do. My reading is, I don't know. Okay, so I appreciate your reading. You're pronouncing quite well. Any changes in that translation there, James? You got anything to say about that?
No, I thought it was fine.
I do too. Okay. Bobby, you got anything to say? Anything to add to it?
No, sir.
Okay, this is perfect tense, and so it's what is it a participle? Or is it a noun, a verb? Oh, this is it's copiao. It's from the verb copiao. I don't know. I think we've had it earlier. It's to be wearied out of the trip, a wearisome toil.
Yeah, it's part of this vocabulary.
Okay. All right. Let's do the next one down to here. James, can you take that down from the end, Erkatai, and from all the way down to the whole Jesus?
Okay. Erkatai gune ektes samarias antleisai hudor. And I translated that as a woman came from Samaria to draw water.
To draw. Okay. And this is from antes. Anti is opposite. And so to receive or take out of it, to draw the water. Right? So she came to draw water. Right? Got a short one for you, Benjamin. Can you come down to a day, a pain?
Ha Jesus no, it'd be etesen hudor. Jesus asked for water.
He asked for water. And that's from Iteo, isn't it? Remember? Ask, made a request. What voice is that? Can you help me out there?
On the aorist?
Yes, right here. Yes.
In the active aorist?
Okay. So he asked for it. Okay. And our word hydroelectric power, for example, comes from this word hudor. And the epsilon would be translated as a Y. Translated as either a U or a Y in English. So a rough breathing HYDOR, but I would translate that, or who HUDOR. Okay. All right. So our word hydro comes from this. Right. Right. Now, James, got a long one for you here, if you will.
Okay. Ede epen posu iudos honpar emu pain ites uses gunaikos samaritidos. And I read that, or translated, I should say, that as, and she said, how do you, being a Jew, ask from me to drink, being a Samaritan woman?
Okay. There's two problems she has with him asking her. What are the two problems here in this verse?
Being a Samaritan and being a woman.
Yeah, I think there's two problems. I think it's she a Samaritan and a woman. Because a Jewish man wouldn't ask of another woman. And I'm sorry, a rabbi wouldn't do that at all. He wouldn't even talk to a woman hardly. That's ludicrous kind of thing, but that's their custom. And I'm told that in the Mid East right now, you don't hardly look at a woman. You can get in trouble if you do. That's what I've been told. But people have gone to Saudi Arabia, for example. I've never been there, but I've talked to people that have. So anyhow, so any question about this? Is this a participle here?
Who says?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a feminine participle, being verb, right?
Yes.
Being a woman. See. All right. Now let's come down. Benjamin, can you go down to the cursor? Starting Hoa Jesus.
Ho Jesus epengele te gunaiki hudor son. Oh, that's it. Hudor son. Jesus promises the woman living water.
All right, so he didn't actually pick up John 4 exactly. He did change it a bit so it fit in with what we covered. So we get the thrust of it, but he used what we'd already covered. Okay, so he promised the woman living water. So that's a figure of speech, I would say. Right? The water is living. Now, she misinterpreted it. Let's see what happens now. James, can you go down to the cursor?
Okay. Hey, delege auto, pothan un case to hudor. And I translated that as, and she says to him, or said to him, from where, therefore, do you have the water?
Well, that's a little bit of a change of what I actually said, but pretty close to it. So where do you have the water? From whence? From what point? From where do you get this water? Say, where do you get it? So I guess she wanted that water. She didn't want to come back to the well, did she? All right. Now, they have, and I've seen this in the places where electricity. They didn't have electricity, for example. We didn't have electricity until I was about 9 or 10 years old in our house. We lived so far out from the electric lines. And I saw some of the neighbors that would get their water from a cistern. And because the water that they get from a well had so much alkaline in it, it just tasted awful. So they would run the water off their house and had a cistern that the water ran down into. Then they would dip the water out of that cistern. But that's kind of stagnant water. It's pretty hard. They had to boil it to use it. Okay, it was rainwater. So I've seen cisterns and seen people that use them. I've been to people's houses where we were drinking cistern water. Tastes a little bit different. But so living water would be like a spring or a well. And a spring that just come out of the ground, for example. And on my father's ranch, we had a spring on the far eastern part of the ranch, on the creek. It just come out of the canyon wall, and it was nice, cool water. It tasted good. So that's what she's looking at. I don't think she sees it as a figure of speech. So I think she's looking at it. Where do I get this water? Do you know of a spring that I can go get the water? I don't have to draw it out of the ground with a bucket. We drew water out of a well, a water bucket, until I was about 10 years old. I've drawn water that way many times. It was good water, but it you had to take a rope, drop the bucket down into it, get it. Okay, so much for that. That's just my experience. All right, so where do you have this water? All right, so let's start. And okay, take down to the next one. I think, James, I think it's your turn. I think, if I haven't forgotten.
Okay. And so I'm starting at Hey Gune.
Yes.
Okay. Hey Gune lege auto oida hoti messias erkatai. And the woman says to him, I know that the Messiah comes.
Yes. The Messiah comes. So, again, it's not exactly the same wording, but it's pretty close. Okay. All right.
Wouldn't it be is to come?
Is to come. All right. Erkatai is present tense, isn't it? Is that Erkatai's present tense?
Yes.
So he comes or is coming. All right. So again, it's you can translate it one of two ways. Okay. I think you're both probably correct, or it could be or plausible. Okay. Any comments there? All right.
To come would be more of an infinitive.
Yeah, to come would. And Jesus, that Messiah comes. Right. Right. Okay, let's go to the next sentence. If you go down to the cursor.
Lege aute ha Jesus ego emi ha lalon soy. Jesus says to her, even I, am the one speaking to you.
Okay, he got the participle, the one speaking. See, the article with the participle would be better translated the one. In this case, the one speaking. Now, you also got ego eimi as emphatic, didn't you? Even I. So the verb already has its ending. The ending of the verb gives us the pronoun already. Then we have the pronoun again, so that makes it emphatic, right? Any comments there? Which we've already done this. James, you got a real long one there.
All right. Metatata poloi, epistusan, ace auton ton samariton, diaton logon, ace gunaikos, martyruses, oti epan moi pa epoi esa. And I translated this as, with this, many of Samaria believed into him because of the word of the woman testifying that he said to me what I did.
Okay. And again, he's reworded it a little bit, but you get the thrust of what was in the passage. So many believed upon him or toward him or with a view to him. They believed in him. Aces could be in him. They believed in him. How did you translate that?
That many believed into him.
Okay, that's good. That's pretty literal. So their faith led them toward him, or it was directed at him. See, ace could be with a view to, and so it doesn't guarantee you've gotten there though. Right? It's directed towards something. You could be getting there. It might or might not. We have to be aware of that. So sometimes it gets you get there, but the context would tell you that, or other parts of the context, either immediate or remote context, tell you that you arrive there. All right. Okay, let me see. Because he told me, he gave witness. She gave witness. And is this another participle?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, of her witness, of witnessing of that. He said to me the things I did. See, this is a pronoun, right? And so we have a pronoun here, and that's what gender is that? Do you know?
Feminine.
Okay,
I'll take a stab.
I'm going to get into it. We're going to get out of it.
He.
I think I've got it in this file. Let's see. Let's make sure I do. I'm sorry. The pronoun. Okay. Now, what was it? Was it here?
Well, neuter.
Right. I think that's the pronoun we were looking at, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So it's the things which I said, the things that I said. That's why it's translated the things. That help?
Oh, so things are neuter. Okay. That makes sense.
See, so that's what we have here. The things which I did, right? Anything to add to that, anybody? Bobby, you can jump in if you've got something to add.
Okay,
Okay, we got one more sentence, and we'll go to text B if y'all want to do that. And we go on into the next lesson. I'll let y'all decide that. Okay, text B, I guess. Benjamin, can you do the rest of it? Finish it out?
Yes, sir. Hota un elthen esten Galilean edexanta auton hoi Galileoi eorakotes a epoiese en Hierosolymos. Therefore, when he came unto Galilee, the Galileans received him, having seen what he did in Jerusalem.
Okay. See what the things, you might translate that, the things that he did. He did in Jerusalem. Okay. And then again, that's also the same pronoun that we had over here, right here. Okay. So that would be the things which he did. What he did is good, though. That's good rendering. Right. All right. Any questions there? All right. Do you want to do text B, or do you want to go on into the next lesson? Be sure we get it finished in proper time.
I'm open for whatever. Ben, what do you want to do? Bobby?
I have. I have three words in the text B that I had issues with.
So you want? Shall we try them?
No, I just want you to say, I want to make sure that they're spelled right. And number 6.
Well, they might not be spelled right.
Yeah, the Hegeron, the very end of Hegeron. Hegeron. Is that supposed to be instead of Hegeron, days? I looked in the book.
Well,
I got, are you not then the Egyptian who before these days caused the right? Yeah, that should be a move, yes.
Should be a move. Okay, let me change it. And a move up here, and I'll just drop it down. Okay, is that more better? Sorry about the grammar.
Mhm.
That's
And
fine.
then in number 8, okay,
Oh, proskuneo.
number 8, N, and that's supposed to be pneumata, misspelled.
Yeah. These are transposed, aren't they?
Right. He done it again down low here with number 10 with demons.
Better.
And down there with demons, last 2, it's got he's got diamoneon and diamonia, and it's supposed to be delta alpha.
On the on.
Yeah.
Right. This number 10,
Right.
again, they're transposed letters. All right.
I know you was trying to keep it, find them, and
I appreciate that.
well, I thought I had the devil when I couldn't figure it out.
As my father was pointing out on 8, there's also it should be proskununtas, right?
Yeah, I had that too.
The sixth
Uh,
word in the other one. in the middle of the sentence.
Okay, on the middle. Cross,
Sigma.
yeah.
Yeah, from proskuneo.
Could have a sigma. So we want a sigma in the middle of the word right here. That's sigma. Is that better?
That's
Also,
better.
also down in number 10, the can you help me with the last two words, ta, de, monia? I was
Yes.
ta is accusative, plural, neuter. Is that right?
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
got neon. Maybe I got it down wrong. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what it is. Okay, never mind. I see my own mistake now, I think. Yeah, the word there, it's last word,
Daimonia.
Moni, I really messed that up. So is that also that has to be accusative?
Yes, it's accusative.
Yeah, I messed up when I was trying to fix the other one.
In neuter, it is accusative and nominative have the same form.
Right, yeah. Okay, I'm through.
So I don't think it's nominative. I think it's accusative. Okay.
Yeah, I had it messed up because I just didn't copy it right. Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to save this. And you want me to send you the file when we get through tonight?
Yes, please.
That'd be good.
Hold on a minute. I always save it as a PDF file too. So some people want PDF files instead of Word. So I save it at the same time. All right.
Before we move on to 35, can we just do number 6?
Yes, we'll do number 6. Just as soon as it gets to saving the file. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
And I'll send this to you after we get through tonight. And I'll to all three of you. It'll have all the corrections we've made up to this point in it. Yeah. The daimonion is a demon, and it was used by the Greeks for a lesser god. They thought that some men did great feats and they become some of the lesser gods. Remember, they're polygamous, not polygamous, they're polytheists, many gods. So that's where they come in. That's why the word is used in Acts 17 for Jesus. That is by the respondents there at Mars Hill. And they use that and set her forth of strange gods because Jesus, he preaching Jesus resurrected, and this was a new idea to them. Okay. So, any comments there? I've written a pretty lengthy outline on angels, Satan, and demons. If you don't have it, I'll send it to you. If you want to just let me know. Okay, so which one did you want to do? Number 6? All right. Let me see here. Can you see the file?
Yes, sir.
Right.
And
Which-
number 6 is what was suggested.
Okay, let's do number 6 then. Who wants to try it? James, I think you are the one in line for it. Can you do it?
Yeah, I can go ahead and read it. U arasu e ho guptios ho pros tuton ton emeron anastatosas. And my translation, I think, is somewhat close to what Bobby did. Are you not therefore the Egyptian who before this stirred up a rebellion? I did not translate it as having the word hemera in it.
Okay. And so you went ahead with Hemera.
No, I did not use hemera.
Okay. Okay.
What did
Okay.
you say, Bobby?
Do what? I had, are you not then the Egyptian who before these days caused a riot?
Okay.
Yeah, his comment made sense.
Yeah.
I-
Once we correct it, we want to go ahead and go with this rendering here. Okay. So, all right. Any other of these you want to do? We can go on into the next lesson a little bit to be sure we get it finished in 2 weeks if you want to. All right. I'm going to go to the next lesson then. Okay. We have stems, sibilant stems, and in the third declension lesson 35, I think we have 50 or 51 lessons. So we probably won't be able to finish it next fall. Okay. We'll have about 16 weeks, and we usually take about 2 weeks per lesson. So we may have to extend it into the spring semester a little bit. Okay. All right. So we'll just go as we can finish. Okay. Theon, Udays, Hel Rockin, Popote, Oroganase, Theos, Ho, Hon, Ace, Tone, Copon, 2, Patros, Ekinos, Ex, A, Zasato, all right, Exas, God, Exagasato, all right. God in no wise, all right, has seen, no one has ever in Pote. So no one has ever seen God. And Udes is an absolute. Maydays would be conditional. So if this was May instead of U at the beginning, it would be conditional. But this is absolutely saying no one has ever seen God. Right? And let me see, John 1:18, let's click off it. Monogenes, Theos, Hon, the only begotten God, the being who is into the coming from the Father. Being in the bosom of the Father. This one has seen him. This one begot, I'm sorry, has declared him. Okay, this one has declared him. Ekinos is Hutos is this one, so that one has declared him. Right? What is monogenes? What does that mean? You know how it's translated by some of the modern translations. They don't make a distinction at all between it and monos and monogenes. Now it's only begotten, and so Jesus is only begotten. I like the King James American Standard renderings, only begotten. I think it has to be a distinction. There's something different about the begetting of Jesus, and it makes him different than anybody else. And so I think it ought to be translated only begotten. Any comments there? All right. A sibilant stem, let's look at it. With the sibilant stem nouns with original stems of epsilon, H, epsilon, sigma, are all neuter. So these are all neuter, right? And so the epsilon sigma, and this probably should be that form of sigma, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and change it. Correct it. Well, should be a final sigma. So it's the correct letter, but it's, you know, it. Well, I'm having trouble. There has been changed to os in the nominative and accusative singular. So they changed it from an epsilon sigma that I've highlighted down to the bottom of the screen to omicron sigma. And so that's your stem. Right. So that's in the nominative and accusative singular form. So we'll look at it down here. We'll see it down here in just a minute. The intervocative sigma is dropped with the resulting contraction, so that it becomes a contraction. They contract. The double sigma resulting in the dative plural is signified by simplified to a single sigma. So he's going by all the rules, how they put the words together. The adjective of this stem retains the epsilon sigma. These stems are common in the New Testament because of their similarity. Os, a, etc. In their endings, os would be masculine, a would be feminine, of course. Of their endings of some of the other forms, they're sometimes difficult for beginning students. So you can get them mixed up with some of the other ones, what he's trying to say. Ethnos is one of our words. That's the word translated nation or Gentiles. And our English word ethnic comes from this. The forms in parentheses show what the uncontracted form was. So before they contracted it and made it shorter, this is what it was. Ethnasos. And ethnos is how they come up with it. So it contracts ethnos. And what you get is, he tells us the os is dropped. Let me see here. What was that? I'm sorry. Change the os. The sigma is dropped with the resulting contraction. So this sigma gets dropped. All right. This sigma here, he gets dropped. That's the sigma he's talking about. And then the epsilon becomes an O. That epsilon and omicron becomes an O. And so it contracts into an O. So the sigma gets dropped. Epsilon and omicron become an O, a diphthong. O become the diphthong O. And that's what they're telling us happened there on that one. And they explain this other one down here. And the sigma itself gets dropped on this one. And that just makes this over here. Okay. And so that's how it all got shortened. So these have the form that's a little bit different because of that contraction. Doesn't go strictly by all the rules because it contracted. Okay. Any comments? What I've done is I've not memorized all these endings, and I probably should have. Okay, but I just work at it and check them out, and that's a cheating way. But I've been so busy with other stuff, I just didn't have time to do all that. Okay, And I'm probably not the best Greek teacher there is. I'm doing what I can do. Right. So, all right. Now I admit that I haven't memorized all of them. Ethnos, the word ethnic, ethnos, ethne, ethnos, and ethnos. Now then, the accusative and the nominative are the same. That's what you expect. But the neuter, notice it's neuter. And we've already been told that up here, but the article here shows it's neuter. And so the nominative and the accusative are the same, and nominative and vocative are almost always the same. Okay. And we get that over here in the plural as well. The nominative and the accusative are the same, and the vocative is the same. So these are your various forms. Now the word ethnic or ethnos, nation or Gentiles, is a word that's found quite a lot in the New Testament. So we find it, I don't know how many times, but it's found a number of times. It actually means a swarm of something when you study it more fully. So they viewed the Gentiles like they were almost like things, like a swarm of things. And I guess the Jews were outnumbered by them so much that they seemed like a swarm. Okay. Any questions? All right. Sibilant adjectives of the third declension. So you can have adjectives. These are nouns up here. And then we have 65 adjectives in the New Testament have sibilant stems. They differ basically from the nouns like ethnos only in a few particulars, notably in retaining an eta sigma long vowel, masculine, feminine, ace in the neuter. So they retain the ace in the neuter, right? And so the ace stays with it, and the os, it doesn't change into an os. That's what they're saying. Of course, you have masculine, feminine, and neuter, all three forms. So the neuter retains the ace, and of course, we got eta sigma long vowel in both the masculine and feminine in the nominative. Accusative ace is attracted from the nominative. There's only two terminations, adikos, that's unrighteous or unjust, on. And so what he's saying, adikos would be masculine and feminine, and then the on would be a neuter. So drop the os and put on, and you'll have the neuter form of unrighteous, unjust or unrighteous, adikos. Right? Okay. And aletheis, true. Right. Aletheis. And this is true. Aletheia is truth. So this is someone that is true, a true person. That's an adjective describing his character. We might just call him a truthful person, but it's a word for true. Aletheis, alethus. Now this is both masculine and feminine form. And probably what they would do is give an article with it to tell you whether it's masculine or feminine, or the context would tell you. Right? So these are your forms for them. Right? And then here's your neuter form over here. What he's put in here is, this is what it was before it contracted, okay? And so that's what it had been. So the sigma got dropped, and we have an epsilon iota. And your stem would have been right here. He doesn't give the stem, but it would be the first four letters up here. So there's your stem. Up until that point is your stem. Right, first four letters. And this is what it would be. When they contract it, becomes this over here. The epsilon omicron becomes an diphthong oo and retains the sigma. Okay. But this sigma here gets dropped. Okay. And this sigma here gets dropped. The one here these all get dropped, and that one gets dropped right down here. There, that sigma right there gets dropped. Okay. All right. And the feminine form retains the epsilon sigma. So again, we get the same rules on it that we had. So it looks a whole lot like the, except it doesn't have the adjective here has an epsilon sigma, whereas our noun had an os. So the epsilon sigma changed to an os. All right. Now we're going to call a halt to it here. Do you have questions? You might not have gotten through and studied this, so we can study it again next week, look it over again. And we'll do the vocabulary, and then I'll see if there's anything else I can add to it, and then we'll do the exercises the following week. All right. You might work on these exercises a little bit if you can. Our vocabulary, we have a fair number of words here. I don't know, we're almost to the end of class time, so we'll not go through those. Let me point out something here. This word exhomologeo is a very interesting word. I've done a study on it, and let me see, I might have that material. I have it in some of my notes somewhere. But what it boils down to is if you study it and look at words used in the New Testament, it's quoted and it's used in two different quotes from the Old Testament. And there's two different Hebrew words that are translated when it's quoted as exhomologeo. One of those is to make a vow or an oath, and the other one is to express something joyfully. And this is the confession we're to make, and we're to confess. And I believe the confession, when I say I believe Jesus is Christ, the Son of God, that I'm making a vow. If he's the Son of God, he is deity. And if he's the Christ, the Son of God, he is Messiah, he is prophet, priest, and king. So I think sometimes preaching that I heard when I was younger, they preached that you had to confess, but they never told the significance of confession. Some people just got the word, you had to say those words. But obviously we have to mean what we say. And I believe that confession is a vow that you joyfully make. And you're delighted to be able to confess him as your Lord. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And my derivation of it is because of the Hebrew words that are quoted, that it's quoted from. Okay? And if I can find my notes on it, I'm sure I have it under my file on where I have little sermons on confession. That's under probably the lessons I have on fundamentals of faith. I'll look and see, and I'll send that to you and let you know, okay? I'll try to send you that before the next day or two, okay? Any questions?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Because I think that's very useful. All right. If there's no further questions, we'll go within the class.